Hi, my friends. We are back for this month's exploration and teaching on pride. So, we're going to take a few minutes, maybe up to 15, 20 minutes, to explore some of the ways that we can enter into our pride exploration. The first thing I want to do is orient us to our map and where we are and where pride resides. Now, I know you've all got a copy of this, and I'm just going to show it to you again. So pride is just below the line, right at our bridge, just below neutrality that we've been exploring. And you'll see that Julie describes it as mobilized anger. So I think it's important to understand the subtle, deeper emotion that is carried in pride as you're exploring what's true for you. I also want to let you know that below the line is a subtle. There's force. There's not so subtle. With pride, it's subtle. With the other emotions that are farther down the line, it's not so subtle. And when I have been gathering information for you that would be meaningful, I'm also exploring and myself. And so I'm going to share some personal stories with you, and I'm going to give you some things for you to wonder into. The next posting or in a few days, maybe early next week, I'm going to offer you another tiny practice for you to begin to gain an understanding and experience of pride in your own body. So one of the things that came up for me was the difference in neutrality that we've been feeling, that is much more spacious and open and has a sense of, I have choices, to the subtle constraints and tightening of what I say my muscles. And what's interesting is that we might not feel reactive in pride because we have a sense of being in control. And that's what I noticed. And I think that there's something that we really want to pay closer attention to in our own physical state and mind state, where pride has us feeling like, yeah, we're doing great. And in the quotes and some of the things that I've been exploring, I'm getting to understand the power of our human nature and how pride has served us, and how pride can be a Achilles heel. So the last thing I want to note is something that we expend a lot of energy keeping our pride together. I'm going to say that again. We expend a lot of energy keeping our pride together. And if you consider, again, neutrality, there's generative energy. There's not anything that we are gripping or doing that is making neutrality to be a part of who we are. It's just naturally what's happening. So the distinction on this bridge is really being able to note what's happening with my energy. And our energy is felt in our body, as you know. So I want to tell you about my pride walk on the beach. I mentioned it in the video, in the Zoom conversation with Linda last week. When I was walking on the beach, I had this idea that, I'm going to do a neutrality walk. And as I was walking, I realized I'm not feeling neutral. There's something going on. And I was really in a very strong, uplifted sense of control, power, force. I realized this is pride, and got a lot more curious about, what do I feel when I am in this state of pride. It's not a bad feeling, it's actually a strong feeling. However, I've lost my ability to see the choices. I'm in a place of I know and you don't. I know something, you don't. There's separation begins. So I'm going to talk about that as well right now, because we have a sense of me and it, me and the other. That's what happens below the line. So this is another point of reference for you. And I want to offer a quote right now where it's from John C. Maxwell. And he says something that's so, I think is a really great gateway for you in how you're exploring. There are two kinds of pride, good and bad. Good pride represents our dignity and self-respect. Bad pride is the deadly sin of superiority that reeks of conceit and ignorance. So what we have, if we just want to make this simple, is we have the pride that moves us to neutrality and above the line, which is our own dignity, self-worth, self-respect. It's very important for us as human beings as we're growing up and waking up, and particularly around money. Money has become a tool or a marker of our self-worth. And money is a very, very poor marker of any kind of self-worth. That's always something that we hold inside. So notice the neutrality that comes from, the duality that comes in pride, because we've got the good pride. I'm going to say good because I ultimately don't think pride is anything other than we make it. And if we see it as good and bad, it will be good and bad. If we see it as, oh wow, I'm exploring and I'm recognizing something, that is an opportunity for our own growing up and our own integration above and below the line. Arrogance and I know more, I am right, is what John Maxwell is calling the bad pride. And that's a place for us to explore as well. And one of the things that I was talking to my partner today, this morning, where we often use what we call the genius exploration. And there's 4 quadrants. This unique abilities came from, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the Dan Sullivan in his work. Genius spiral comes from the Hendricks, but it's all about the same concept of working and engaging in our genius, which is what we all aspire to. And just before genius, we have our excellent zone. And it's very, very easy to get stuck in your excellent zone a long, long time because it's comfortable. We feel in control, we feel our power, we feel our self-worth. And we're often paid well for executing and working in our excellent zone. That's what I believe about pride. I think we can stay in a sense of pride for a long, long time without recognizing that there is actually a different way to embody our creative expression and our essence. So my story of staying in pride comes from when I was in my 20s. And I will try not to be really embarrassed by this because it's kind of absurd when I look back, but it's also, I remember it really well. So I lived in Cambridge in my 20s in a condo in Inman Square. And during the spring, summer, and fall months, the street that I lived on would be cleaned. And there was a schedule that it was cleaned on the even side of the road the second week of the month, and on the odd side of the road the fourth week of the month. So not such a confusing schedule, but you can get identified with it and put it in your own calendar and work with it. What happened was I would go to work very early in the morning before anything was up, and including the street cleaners, and my car would be on the side of the road that needed to be moved in order to get the street cleaning mobile through. So if your car was there, it would be towed, and it would be you would get a ticket, and you would need to go pick it up. Long story short, I would come, be devastated, my car's towed because I took public transportation to get to work, and I would not pay the ticket. I didn't pay the ticket for a lot of months. And eventually, I got a Denver boot, which is just absurd, but I did. And obviously, if I have a Denver boot, which is the contraption I need to go pay all of the tickets that have been accumulated in order for me to get this boot off. So my pride and my indignation and in my, just my entitlement really that, look, I got to work early and why do, I'm being, this ticket is insult to injury. Can't you just tow me, have me pay that fee to pick it up and everything, and that be sufficient? Well, looking back, this was one of those things you cut off your nose to spite your face, or pride goes before a fall. These quotes that we have, these phrases and sayings. And so not only did I have hundreds of dollars to pay in the tickets and fines and interest on the tickets, it was a lesson to learn about, and this is a money lesson. I wasn't doing myself any favor by not paying for the ticket. There was a better, more skillful move, obviously, which would have been to, pay attention to what's going on in the community. How is the street cleaned for the benefit of everyone who's driving here, and get it on your calendar. Figure out a way. So that's a pride story on money, and I think that what's yours? What are some of the ways that you have been in pride around money? Get curious, not as a way to shame yourself or blame yourself or make you wrong, but to really explore, like, where are the places that I might be stuck? And if there's nothing around money, consider a relationship, consider something that helps you to explore what it might be. And then I want to go into, again, so your wonder question, I'll just repeat it again. I wonder where I might be stuck in pride related to money, a relationship, or any experience in my life. And the last thing I want to discuss that I think is really important for us to begin to recognize is that our spine is where we locate pride. And our spine, and I sometimes like to call it our back line, is not a place that we normally consciously inhabit. We're frequently leaning forward, moving forward. And so as you explore these other areas of pride, give attention to your back line. And even in this moment, notice that our spine is movable, yet uplifted and elongated, that when we begin to give it attention, we automatically rise. Our breath actually expands and has more movement in our chest, but also in our back, behind our heart. And there's a lot of space between our sits bone and the back of our neck and the back of our head and the top of our head, where the spine has a lot of territory. So we are, a couple more things. We know we're shifting above the line towards over the bridge towards neutrality when our thoughts begin to calm. We don't have a sense of grasping of I'm right. We our energy softens. We actually can feel a little bit more relaxed in our body. So pride, as I said, is tight. And as we were exploring neutrality, it had much more of an open, spacious quality. And the third thing is that our spine feels more open and spacious and strong. Not as something that we are gripped to, in and like still, but there's something begins to open. So those are the points that I want you to begin to play with as we're exploring pride. Orient yourself on the map. Consider what pride feels for you. Maybe take a walk and see what a pride walk would feel like for you. Remember and read the quote from John Maxwell about pride being good and bad and duality that lives below the line. You can bring my story of the parking tickets back and lead that into your own wonder question about how pride is showing up for you in your money or another situation. And then finally, get familiar with your spine. And I will offer again a tiny practice for you to engage. And I look forward to exploring with you here. And thank you so much for choosing to explore and be here and play with me.